Still on the Minister's platform, we bring you a special interview with the Honorable Minister of Mines and Steel on Talking with the Minister. Can you speak on the roadmap for the growth and development of the Nigerian mining industry? What are some of the major deliverables of the roadmap, and what has been the response to this roadmap by the key industry stakeholders?
The roadmap is actually a response to the situation that the sector found itself there about 2017. Nigeria, mining started in Nigeria, or let's say geoscience data started in Nigeria as far back as 1903, even before the formalization of the Nigerian state. And Nigeria relied heavily on the minerals before the advent of oil and gas. So up until 1958, Nigeria relied mostly, even the colonial masters, on revenue from the mining sector. Nigeria was quoted copiously on the London Metal Exchange. You know, we were exporting tin, we were exporting columbite, we were exporting coal, and so many other minerals out of Nigeria. But with the advent of oil, we shifted our focus and went into oil and gas, of course, because it's so much easier to bring that out. So Nigeria totally, by the time of the indigenization decree of 1972-73, thereabout, mining seemed to fail to exist in Nigeria anymore, especially in the formal sector. What was left were the artisanals. So with the reality of what's going on with the fossil fuel, Nigerian government started focusing again, especially with the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, on minerals and steel development. The focus, and of course, putting funding into that sector. The roadmap essentially was, look, where do we want to be in 10 years' time? So they brought in a lot of industry experts, academics, and they all sat down and did what we call a short, medium, and long-term perspective of where we should be and what we should pursue to get to those points. That's what the roadmap is all about. And it was finished and published in 2017. But the roadmap essentially was looking at least in the short term and the medium time on the low-hanging fruits. What are the minerals that we have that could take to the industrial level immediately? And they were looking at things like barite. Of course, they look at gold. Nigeria has always had a lot of gold. We're also looking at our coal. A lot of countries are saying that, okay, they do away with coal. But then, Nigeria has energy deficiency. And coal is one of the efficient ways, though it has its waste, of producing energy. So the roadmap essentially was looking at those minerals that we could effectively take to the industrial level in a short term. So it prescribed short term as 2 years, medium term 5 years, and then long term as 10 years. So that's essentially what the roadmap was looking at. Since I had been here, the roadmap has formed the bedrock of like a Bible for the industry so far.
What is the position of things right now?
Barite is a material that is used in the oil and gas industry. I mean, ironically, they use barite as part of the drilling mud that the exploration companies use in the oil and gas industry. Barite is abundant in Nigeria. We have barite in so many states. Nasarawa, Niger, Cross River. It's all over the place. But then the problem was taking our own barite, local barite, to the industrial grade that will be useful in the oil industry. So we were importing barite from Morocco, essentially, for about $300 million every year. When I came into office, I took it upon myself and set up what we call from mines to the market. We got a consultant, somebody who's worked in barite all his life to support us. We're glad today. We are at the point where we're about to launch Made in Nigeria. We call it Proudly Nigeria Made Barite. What we've done is to practicalize it. We have 50 bags. The barites are normally bagged in 1-ton bags. It's ready in Port Harcourt, well-tested, API standard. That's the American Petroleum Institute standard. We set up a committee so that we can do the launching very soon, in the next couple of weeks, maybe first week of September, just to announce to the world that, yes, Nigeria has its own barite now, API standard, and is ready for the market. Not just for Nigerian market, but we can also export to our neighbors. Ghana has oil there. South Africa has oil. Nigeria is closer to these two than the northern African country where everybody is importing from now. So that's one success story from the roadmap itself. We picked up barite and we've taken it now to that level. So we have a system in place where we identify the miners, people who mine barite. We now have to identify millers, because those are some of the problems that they had in the past. People who had standard milling equipment. We've identified them. and we're linking them together. So government is just providing the linkages. And of course, the bagging was also a problem in the past because an attempt had been made like this in the past, which failed. So what we did was that we got a company to provide the bagging, which we've tagged by Proudly Nigeria. So we've tied the whole process. And then, of course, we now have a marketing position in Port Harcourt because that's where most of the OICs and other exploration companies are. So I dare say that the Barite story is a success story at this point.
Can you talk about the efforts being made by the government to retrieve Nigeria's colonial geological data from the United Kingdom through the British Geological Survey, talking about the BGS, the National Geological Museum?
Part of the roadmap is also that. We know that mining itself is based on data. Data, that's the knowledge to, number one, to know where these minerals are located, and in what quantum and so on. And like I said, from 1903, when Nigeria was not even a country by then, the colonial masters were here. Geological survey activity started in 1903 in the northern Petroskele and then 1904 in the south. We got a lot of data that was actually collected, gathered by the British colonial masters. And of course, upon independence, they took it away. Now, part of this process is there is a project that's ongoing now. It's a federal government project. It's called MinDiver. Mineral diversification project, just to diversify the economy through mineral proceeds. This project is being financed by a loan from the World Bank. So part of what the loan is being used for is to acquire this data, to bring back this data that the British have in their possession. Of course, the process actually started in the last couple of years. The data are being digitized now. We are taking it to digital format so that when it comes back here, it's something that we can use digitally. There were manual data. It's now being digitalized, and of course, will be returned to us. That funding is coming from the World Bank loan that we have. I was in the office in Sherwood in England. I saw the activity that's going on. The data that Nigeria has been gathering through our Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, we'll merge all this together. We're creating a data bank, which is going to be online. From the comfort of your homes and offices, wherever you are all over the world, you can now access, of course, with some protocol. Some will be free. You can just look at them freely, because they're in layers. Then some are deeper layers where you may have to pay to access such information from the system. But when the whole thing is completed, the data bank is going to be based in our office here, in Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. That's one of our agencies. They are primarily responsible for gathering data for mining. It's a process that's going on. We are working with British Geological Survey. It's not free, like I said. We are paying for it from the loan we obtained from the World Bank.
Last year, you and your team embarked on an international roadshow, Canada, Australia. What would you say is the outlook for renewed investment in Nigeria's mining sector, like both indigenous companies and international mining conglomerates?
The beauty of going out there is the fact that we have something to offer. And there I must credit my predecessor in office, Governor Kayode Fayemi, who was immediate past minister in this place. There was a project that was started in 2018 called NIMEP, Nigeria Integrated Mineral Exploration Project. We got some, and also you have to give credit again to President Muhammadu Buhari. This ministry had never enjoyed any extra budgetary provision. The kind of budgets we have cannot do the exploration that is required in this industry, because mining is all about data. For you to get the data, you need to spend a lot of money. But in 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari granted this ministry a 30 billion naira extra budgetary fund. It was called an intervention fund. Half of this fund, 15 billion naira, which at that time equated to about $50 million, dedicated to exploration. That project is called NIMEP. Now, this NIMEP focused basically on 4 minerals. The data being generated are very fantastic. It's telling us the minerals that we're discovering. Even we're discovering those things we're not looking for. While we're looking for gold in Zamfara, we found lithium. Lithium is one of the minerals of the future. That's what you find in your electric cars, for batteries and all that. But even with the data that were gathered already, this was the data we were taking to all these mining calendars. We had Mines and Money in London. You had the PDAC in Canada, of course, Ndaba in South Africa, and of course, African Down Under in Australia. And of course, at each of these forums that we will go to, the response is very good, because we know there's a Nigerian corner, Nigerian day. As the minister, I go there, I just make a short speech, 5-10 minutes. Then we bring in our experts who are on the NIMEP projects. These are competent persons. who, by the industry standard, they are the ones who give the facts. Whatever they say is believed. These people present the data, and the data so presented became so interesting, and we had a lot of response from would-be investors who wanted to come into Nigeria to do that. But for the pandemic, that started from about March last year, we will have had a lot of success story from these people. But be as it may, just about 2-3 weeks ago, one of these people that we spoke to in London, while we were in London last year, came into Nigeria, and they're bringing a $50 million investment into a gold project in Abuja here. It's called Babasani. So these are some of the fruits of that junketing that we're doing all over the place. And of course, selling the data that we have. It was so interesting that people wanted to come in. So one of the success story is this firm that are just coming to Nigeria now. In fact, they've done the share arrangement. They're already in the Nigerian partners. They're starting operations very soon. First instance, they're bringing in $50 million into that project to mine gold in Abuja.
Can you tell us about it, about the mineral export guidelines that your ministry and the Ministry of Finance is working on, and other stakeholders to appreciate what you do in this regard?
We've had issues with export of minerals from Nigeria. One is the fact that there were a lot of illegalities occurring. People were taking minerals out of Nigeria without paying their appropriate fees. The mineral that you realize is yours. It's called winnings. Well, you must pay royalty to government because you spend quite a sum to get to this mineral. But when you extract the minerals, all we ask for is for you to pay the royalty due to government. When you pay the royalty, you can now export or you want to sell locally. So what the export guidelines is to try and streamline all this process. Now we are introducing what we call inspectors, pre-shipment inspectors, who will look at, because some of these minerals are exported in the raw form. We're also doing what we call processing policy, where we are discouraging people from exporting raw ore from Nigeria. When you take this ore out of Nigeria in the raw form, when it gets to its destination, they will now start doing the inspection, and some of them are rejected, and even our people end up the loser. So it becomes a big disappointment for the exporter. What we're encouraging is that processing, so that what you are exporting out of Nigeria, because minerals don't come out of ground in the pure form, they come with a lot of impurities. So if you do minimal processing locally, what you'll be exporting will be the pure mineral you're exporting. For instance, you can import lead ingots. Instead of exporting lead as it comes out of the ground, it comes with zinc, it comes with some other minerals. You export lead ingots, and it's strictly lead. So all it matters is you agree price and you agree the weight. So these are some of the things that the export guideline is doing and the mineral downstream policy is doing. And also encouraging local investors, particularly, to invest in this process. You don't have to be a miner, but you can be a processor. For instance, we have a lot of kaolin in Bauchi, Nigeria. The paint industry, the pharmaceutical industry, they use kaolin, but they have to import it. We export our kaolin in the raw form to some other jurisdiction. The process is industrial grade, and we import it back to make paints in the paint industry. They import it to the pharmaceutical industry as well. We're encouraging investors now. The response is good, and the good thing about this, again, I must also praise President Muhammadu Buhari, is that the government is putting the money where his mouth is. We are doing pilot projects. There are 6 of them all over the country. It's processing. For instance, we are building a processing plant now for kaolin in Bauchi, so that we process the kaolin to industrial grade, and we do import substitution for the industry that needs them. You don't have to import these things anymore because we have it, we process it, it's ready for use in the industry, and also we can also export. These and some of the other things as what the export guidelines that we're working on. Number one, to streamline the process, make sure that we remove all the bottlenecks. It's easier for exporters, at the same time to remove the illegalities that prevails.